Are you trying to figure out how to make the most of 2022? Do you feel confused and lost and unsure? Well, don't worry, because this video is for you. Hello my love bugs and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ruby Dal. I am a best-selling author of 5 books of poetry, prose and bite-sized self-help, and I write about healing, self-love, moving on, self-worth and so much more. Okay, so I know that, we're like 4 months into 2022, so creating a video about how to make the most of 2022 is a little bit of like, Ruby, you should have created this at the start of the year, like what are you doing, why are you so delayed? But as I explained in my previous video, I am delayed because I didn't record for so long and I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna, be as consistent as I can this time around and make as many videos and get them out there for you, because I want you guys to make the most of this year. I want you guys to make the most of your healing journeys. I want you to make the most of the weather. I want you to just enjoy and have a good time. So that's why this was a video that was in my pipeline that I really wanted to record. And for that reason, we are going to go ahead and talk about how to make the most of 2022. Let's talk about how difficult and exhausting the last 2 years have been. COVID has been around for so long and we have felt lost and anxious and afraid and just in a different place altogether. A lot of us have come to terms with what's happened. A lot of us have lost loved ones. A lot of us have gone through a humongous amount of grieving and difficult healing journeys, but we've made it so far and we are here today. We've gone back to traveling, we've gone back to, maintaining our normal routine as best as we could. One blessing is the work from home. A lot of us have gone back to hybrid working, which is a blessing because it gives you, some space from work as well as some time to rest at home. And then it also gives you the social interaction that comes with work. So the last 2 years have been a huge healing journey, a huge change, a huge way for us to come to terms with how significantly life can change and we have no power over it, but how powerful we are in terms of, the way that we cope to change and the way that we, flex ourselves and mold ourselves to it. So the new year brings with it hope and the opportunity to be able to do new things. A lot of us make all these, New Year's resolutions. I'm going to go to the gym more, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to give up on chocolate. I'm sure that a certain number of you have probably given up on all those New Year's resolutions because we are in April. But for those of you who've continued those New Year's resolutions and have continued the gym, continued eating healthy, given up on chocolate, good for you. I'm really proud of you. My New Year's resolution was to wake up earlier. I'll probably get through it every now and then, but sometimes I don't, and it's those days where I feel really bad. I'm not sure what it is, why I can't just get up earlier and be productive, because on days when I do get up earlier, I am so productive. Like, I manage to whisk through the day and it literally feels so much better. So in this week's episode, we're going to talk about how to make the most of 2022. And these are things that I want to engage in myself. These are actions that I want to carry out because I want to make the most of this year and I want to get as much done as I possibly can. Not just productivity wise, not just work wise, but in terms of my own personal relationships and my own healing. Okay, so how do we make the most of the new year? Number 1, let go of the past and move forward. This is something that I have struggled with for so long because I hold anxiety, I hold stress over things that have happened in the past for a really long time, and it impacts my peace, it impacts my ability to be able to wake up the next day and just get on with it. Things that have happened probably 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they just replay in my head and I'm unable to let go. Essentially, the issue with not being able to let go of these things is that it has an impact on my happiness. I'm not able to be at peace. I'm not able to be at ease. So whenever I do anything, I just keep thinking about the past. So say, for instance, someone did me wrong 2-3 years ago. I will struggle to trust people for the next few years because someone screwed me over. And that will have a humongous impact on my relationships, on the quality of my relationships. Because if I can't trust someone, how can I engage in a friendship or a relationship or, include them in my life? And this has an impact on a lot of my decisions. So say I failed at something, or say, something bad happened. I use those bad experiences as examples to not do the same things again. And although it's good, because this is you know, it's in our genetics, it's in our DNA. You know, that's how we learn to not touch hot things again. That's how we learn to not jump over cliffs and so on, because it's going to be dangerous. It also means that you're not able to take the risks that you could. It also means that you're not able to get into the kind of high quality relationships which only blind trust can give you. So the one way in which I want you to, you know, make the most of 2022 is to learn to let go of the things that you can't change. Let go of the past. The past can't be a good example for how your future is going to be, because you were a different person then. You know, carried out different actions. The people you met were of a different type. You can't use those experiences to determine how the quality of your future experiences and your future relationships is going to be. And this brings me to number 2. Stop fretting about the things that you can't control. There's so many things in our lives that are just out of our control, that we can't do anything about. And if we've learned anything from COVID and what happened with quarantining and lockdown, is that there genuinely is nothing you can do about certain experiences. Now, if you're going to sit down and get upset over it and say, oh no, this, you know, it didn't happen the way that I wanted to, or I'm completely powerless in this particular situation, why did it happen that way? Why didn't it go the other way? And you don't have power to control it. It's just going to eat you up. It's just going to have such a bad impact on your mental and emotional health. So when COVID first happened, I was stuck at home, and I don't really benefit from working in my room. Like, you know, I write books and stuff. So I really needed a cafe to be able to write. I needed my own little study space, my own office, which I don't have at home. It really affected me. I used to get so upset over the fact that I wasn't able to create, I wasn't able to write freely, I wasn't able to think for myself. And the way that I dealt with it was accepting that there's nothing I can do about this situation, knowing that I wasn't the only one that was stuck in this position, and then making a change in the places that I could. So yes, I couldn't create, but I could read still, right? Yes, I couldn't write, I could go on walks, I could still listen to podcasts, I could still do the things that would, you know, indirectly have an impact on my writing eventually anyway, because my writing comes from my thoughts, it comes from my experiences. In the same way, stop fretting about the things that you can't change or control and focus on the stuff that you can. That will empower you, and it will allow you to make changes and, you know, just be more comfortable with being powerless in other situations which you otherwise wouldn't be able to do anything about anyway. Number 3. Develop a positive mindset. Okay, so I was recently listening to this podcast. Actually, I was listening to it literally, like 5 minutes ago. And it's called Happy Place, and it's by Fearne Cotton. For those of you who know Fearne Cotton, she's written some amazing books about happiness, journaling, and so on. I think I actually have her book. I'll show it to you guys later. And she was speaking, her podcast essentially is about happiness, okay? And it's about ways in which we can manifest happiness, what happiness does for us. We've, you know, through science, through reading, through podcasts, through books, through professionals, we know that having a positive mindset can have such a huge impact on the quality of your life. There have been cases where people with, you know, I don't want to generalize or anything, but people who've been really sick have been able to change their mindset from a negative mindset, turn it into something positive, and they've changed their life around as a result of it. And it's so important, the stories we tell ourselves about our experiences. So Fearne Cotton had this particular guest on, he's called Dr. Chatterjee, and he was talking about his new book, Happy Mind, Happy Life, I think. He was talking about the stories that we tell ourselves about our experiences, and how if we just start telling ourselves positive stories, if we start empathizing with other people in situations that they have done us wrong or we feel bitter about, for instance, you're driving and someone's just cut through you, if you then swear at that person and say, oh my god, you know, what a douche, and he's ruined my day, you're essentially telling yourself that your day is ruined and you're gonna have a negative mindset. If you then treat that person with compassion and say, oh, maybe he needed to get to work, maybe he's running late, maybe he's had a difficult night, maybe he's not slept, maybe something's happening in his personal life that he doesn't have any control over, and that's why he's frustrated. Not only does it change the story that you're telling yourself, it also changes your mindset about how your day is going, because you're no longer upset, you're no longer angry with this person who's cut through the line in front of you. So essentially, it's very, very important to have a positive mindset about things. It's very important to treat people with compassion. Look at the other side. Think about what they're going through, what other people are thinking when they act in a certain way. Accepting a positive mindset, adopting a positive mindset towards our experiences will guide a lot of our actions. So in 2022, I want you to think about the other side. I want you to be positive. I don't want you to take things in a negative way. If you failed, look for the good. If someone's broken your heart, I know in the first few weeks or months you won't be able to, but eventually look for the lesson. Try to treat every experience in a positive way, and your 2020 is gonna just manifest and mold into something happier and brighter as a result. Number 4, make more time for yourself. This is so important. I feel like with COVID, we had so much time to give ourselves that it almost felt like too much time. It felt like all I was ever doing is going on walks. All I was ever doing was just sitting by myself, reading and so on. However, now that things have gone back to normal, I find myself running around a lot more. I find myself always in cafes, always working, always doing something or other. I'm also now planning my wedding. So I find myself constantly busy. And I've not been able to give that time, that essential time. Yes, I'll go to the gym for an hour, 3 times a week. However, am I really spending quality time in the presence of my own company? And the way that I find that I'm able to do this is by going on walks, by just being in my own presence, watching Netflix, watching a movie. Make sure that you make that essential time for yourself. Just now, I was recording videos, I took a break, I went on a walk, grabbed a coffee, listened to a podcast, and just immersed myself in my own company. And it's so important to spend time with yourself, because the more that you get to know yourself, the more peaceful you're going to be with your own thoughts, with your own ideas. And it just has a positive influence on your relationship with other people as a result. Of course, don't just limit yourself to Netflix, don't just limit yourself to walks, go on adventures, take a trip by yourself. Go on a holiday. I would love to go traveling on my own. I feel like it's one of those things that I really would love to do. But I also find that I am a little bit limited. I know it's a limiting mindset and I shouldn't think like that, but in this day and age, the kind of experiences that I hear about, the kind of things that I hear about, I still don't feel that as a woman I am in a world that is safe for me to travel by myself. So many women do it, so many women having a wonderful and amazing time doing it. So I would absolutely recommend that if you feel confident enough to be able to do it, go on holiday by yourself and have a blast. Number 5, invest time in your relationships. We are social beings at the end of it, okay? As much time as I spend with myself, I need to spend the same amount of time with other people. At the end of it, this is something I learned in a very negative and bad way. When my uncle passed away, we didn't think about the job that he did. We didn't think about the money he had. We didn't think about, all the things that he had done for himself. We thought about all the things that he had done for us. We thought about the way that I remembered him was his laughter, the way he used to dance in fields, his interactions with others, his interactions with our relationship, how he touched people. And essentially that is how you are remembered. That is how people miss you. They don't miss, how much you achieved. They don't miss the amount of money that you made, or the fact that you had 2-3 houses and a wonderful car. They miss you in the moments that they spent with you and the experiences that they shared with you. And essentially our relationships, whether it's with our parents, our romantic partner, friends, colleagues, those are what build us. Those are essentially what contribute, the tiny trinkets that contribute to our happiness and our overall quality of life. So if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling sad, just call up a friend, ask them that you want to meet them, meet up for coffee, but definitely invest time in your relationships. It's so important. Number 6, don't be so hard on yourself. I feel like this is something that's going to be so important in this year, because in 2020 and 2021, we were so hard on ourselves. I know I was. The fact that I wasn't able to achieve as much as I did before, the fact that I wasn't able to write all the time, the fact that I wasn't able to be as productive. There were so many goals that I had for myself in the years 2020 to 21 that I almost felt let down. And the reason for this was because I had set my expectations up here. And when you set your expectations too hard, come on, you're gonna ultimately feel let down. So set yourself low expectations. And when I say low, I don't mean it in a negative connotation. I just mean down here. Because when you do 1 or 2 things in those expectations, you're gonna generally feel happier. Why should you feel, sad for not meeting those absolutely unrealistic expectations? Just be easy on yourself. You've gone through a pandemic. You've gone through so many things in the last 2 years. Why do you want to suddenly get back into the crazy busy life and set these unrealistic expectations for yourself that after those 2 years you probably can't meet? Set those low expectations, be easy on yourself, and if you meet them, great. If you don't, just know that you've got the rest of your life ahead of you to achieve these goals. Number 7, remove yourself from toxic and difficult situations. If this is a toxic person, if it's a good person but with toxic personality traits, if it's an argument, if it's a relationship, it's a friendship, it's family, just remove yourself. One thing I've learned at the age of 27 is that I have spent way too much time people pleasing. I have spent way too much time trying to make other people happy, trying to live up to their expectations, trying to maintain relationships that just didn't feed me, because I didn't know how to say no, because I didn't know how to leave, because I didn't know how to remove myself from those situations. It's so important to put yourself first. If someone is bringing you negativity, remove yourself. If a job is having a negative impact on your mental health, leave, get a sick note, take a break, okay? You don't need to do anything that you don't want to do. There's so many other ways to make the most of 2022, but I really wanted to focus on these kind of things rather than focusing on being too productive and being, working hard, waking up early. Those things can wait. The most important thing is that you focus on your mental and emotional health, and you focus on ways in which you can improve the quality of your life and the quality of your happiness in this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know what other kind of videos you'd like me to film. If you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe. Please share, and I will see you all next week. Is that I have spent way too much time people pleasing.